Wait, configure file output path. Huh. Okay, well, I guess I'm not recording, but I am, we should be live in a moment.
Define a moment.
Well, I just got an email that we're live, I think. So,
I don't
mean,
know what
we'll
a moment
see.
is.
We'll see.
We need to go.
All right, well, hello everybody. Welcome to WordCast, and welcome to Portland, where it's nice and smoky and hard to breathe. It's a wonderful, wonderful time of year right now, where it's again nice and smoky and hard to breathe. Isn't it great?
I mean, this is literally unprecedented.
Don't you feel like it's great? Don't you feel like it's great?
No.
You don't like it?
Not at all.
Why?
Because it sucks.
Oh, okay. So anyway, guys, welcome to WordCast. This one here, we are doing WordCast number 32.
We are.
It's smoky outside, which is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. We really like that about it. But we have got a lot of interesting topics for you guys today, actually. But first, I want to say thank you for anybody that's joining in. And I'm Ethan. This is Daniel. And we're going to talk to you about tech for like, 2 hours, and it'll be fun. And we'll probably go off on random tangents about bullshit, but that's okay.
And Destiny 2 not working.
Yes, and Destiny 2 not working on launch day. Whoa! So, yeah. We got a lot of news for you guys. Go ahead, Daniel. I think you have the first topic, don't you?
No, I did not.
You don't have the first topic?
Well,
why don't I have the doc open?
project.
Why don't I have the doc open?
Because you're never prepared for your show.
I'm never prepared for anything. But it's okay to not be prepared for anything. Isn't it?
It's your show, so I guess it really is up to you.
That's true. All right, I got to load up our notes, guys. I'm sorry. I pressed start, and then I didn't load up the notes ahead of time because I'm a genius.
Threadripper was a passion project, is the first one.
Is that the first one? Oh,
yeah.
There's some more Threadripper news. Okay, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. All right, everybody, so this is just a little bit of news to throw in here. So I didn't finish our intro, did I? I'm a freaking idiot. All right, well, I'm Ethan, and this is Daniel once again, and make sure to check the links in the description for going to our website and whatnot, and subscribe and follow us and everything. And check our Patreon down there if you're interested in giving a monthly contribution. We really appreciate everybody that has been doing that. But I guess we'll just jump straight into the news now because I'm having a brain fart about the rest of what the intro is supposed to be. So,
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, it matters a lot.
We say the name, we say the channel, we get them to go everywhere.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. I usually call out your channel, but that's changing, so it doesn't matter
what
anymore.
Channel?
What channel? Yeah. Okay. So anyway, everybody, a little bit more Threadripper news, and this is just a little bit of fun news. It's nothing like super new about it, because the Threadripper chips are out. We've already talked about their stuff a lot. Watch our previous live streams if you want to know more about that.
We'll be talking about those more soon.
About Threadripper? Oh yeah, we will be. I got more stuff at the end to talk about personal stuff. But anyway, so Threadripper actually was a passion project within AMD. So this was interesting. There were originally 20 to 30 people working on it at the beginning. So it was kind of, hey, let's build our dream CPU, what we would want in our dream system. And it ended up actually turning into a real product, obviously. Now this is an article by Forbes here that talks about it. And basically, after reading the majority of the article, because it's really long, but basically, the bunch of people had the idea for it, and then they ended up actually getting it approved in a taxi cab. So, on the way to Computex, which was the great place. So, let's see. So, this guy, what's his name? James Pryor. Says his boss was sharing a taxi with Jim on the way to Computex 2016 and mentioned Threadripper to him. He loved it so much, this is not a direct quote, I'm summarizing here, he loved it so much that he basically gave him the green light right there and found a way to get it on the roadmap and up to higher management. So that was just kind of an interesting little bit of news there, that Threadripper wouldn't have existed. This was back in 2015. There was not originally plans for it, but they kind of had seen a gap between Ryzen and Epic, and they're like, what do we do now? There's no in-between, and so they wanted to make it in-between, and considering how easy it was for them to do that, it's literally Epic, just different boards and, slightly less PCI Express lanes and whatnot, right? It's very, very, very similar to the way Epic's designed. It's the same socket as Epic, so it's a really good design overall. I'm kudos to them for that.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. It's pretty interesting, but
yeah, indeed.
It's just a long.
It's a very long article. I read the majority of it, and it's very, very interesting, very entertaining. So we have got a question here. So Kevin Duffy said, Destiny 2 on PC, only way to play it. Yeah, we'll be talking about that, don't worry. But, of course, this guy here is more of a gamer than me and wanted to get it, to play it before it was available on PC.
Yeah.
Which is smart.
Why wait until it's out on PC when I can play it now and then on PC?
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry, I'll be getting it for PC because we got a whole bunch of people that we're going to be playing with. So we'll probably do live streams of that.
It'll be like I get an upgrade for the game.
Yeah.
that I have to restart to play.
So Kevin asked another question. He's like, if you get to it. So yes, I got to it. Thank you for asking the question. Threadripper or Epic for video editing workstation? If price was not a big concern. So first off, this is a really, really fun topic because I'm actually building a Threadripper video editing workstation next month. So that's exciting. But I have more on that later today. But what I will say is I would go Threadripper myself. With Epic, the extra money that you're paying, unless you're doing like really high production level, like multiple quadro GPU, you know, editing for movies and like custom GPUs or something like that. And even then, there's really just not a reason to go to Epic. You know, the 16 cores are going to be pretty much plenty for any video project and more. I mean, it's already overkill. In fact, realistically, if you're just doing like YouTube video editing, like Ryzen's fine. I'm going with Epic because not Threadripper because I'm a PC enthusiast, but there's no real need for that. If you're just say you were just a photographer, you liked cars or something like that, and you did you know, YouTube projects for cars or whatever, I would definitely say just go ahead and go with Ryzen 8 core for that, like a 1700 and overclock it. But yeah, so definitely I would say go Threadripper. The extra RAM support as well as the extra PCI Express lanes aren't really going to be used with Epic. You already have so many with Threadripper. There's just no realistic reason for going with Epic for video editing, in my opinion. So yeah, Threadripper is awesome, and you know, 16 cores is massive. So, and you're already, you know, you get so many PCI Express lanes, 64 PCI Express lanes with that. You can do multiple high-end, you know, video GPUs. And realistically, if you're using like Premiere Pro or something like that, that's not super GPU accelerated when it comes to rendering, it is a decent amount. But realistically, even something like a 660 Ti is going to do pretty much everything you need, and you're not going to see. There's actually some testing. I can't remember who did it, but there was some testing done recently on YouTube between like lower end GPUs that were like 3 or 4 years old versus like the top tier today, and the difference was like maybe a minute in render or a couple seconds in render time. So realistically, you know, GPUs aren't necessary unless you're doing really high production stuff for
and very specific codecs.
Yes, exactly. Now, what it is nice to have a GPU for is accelerated timeline scrubbing if you're using Cineform. Cineform is the format I edit in. It's a massive file format or file size format. I've had projects ranging in over 500 gigabytes for a single project for a video, but that's only when it's rendered to Cineform. I delete the Cineform footage later, but that's GPU accelerated, so then it ends up being really smooth across the timeline. The CPU is not having to do as much work, so
yeah,
it works good. So yes, and then Kevin says, thanks, saved you 4K. Yeah, you're welcome. Definitely, Threadripper is the way to go when it comes to video editing. Just get a 1950X, give it a little bit of an overclock if you want, and you know, you're good to go.
Yeah, because they can pretty universally safely overclock to 4.
Well, they all actually have their boost clocks set for 4.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, realistically, all cores, if you're willing to sacrifice the power consumption, then you're good to go. I would recommend, for video editing, getting a really high-end motherboard and potentially error-correcting RAM. I'm not doing the error-correcting RAM part. It's hard to actually find a not high-end motherboard for Threadripper, right? It's, you know, enthusiast platform, but
he's going to be looking at doing dual 1080 Ti's, 64 gigs of RAM. He's using Resolve/Fusion. Currently recording 4K using Atmos Recorder.
Okay.
Yeah, way high-end stuff.
Yeah, I imagine you'd have the hard drive space there. Yeah, well, for that, I would definitely, recommend getting a bunch of SSD storage, but I would actually recommend more RAM myself. Like, I'm going to be starting with 32 gigs on my system, but I plan to up to 64, like, really quickly after, and then probably sometimes towards the end of the year / next year up to 128.
Premiere, so
I mean, Premiere is a RAM whore, I'll admit, but I mean, more RAM you can figure out a way to use it. Yeah, Premiere is a RAM whore, though. I mean, I have 40 gigabytes in my current editing machine, and it eats that up, no problem. If I gave it more, it would use more. So, yeah, that's some pretty high-end stuff, though. That's pretty cool. What are you recording with? What are you using to record your 4K footage with, and what format are you recording in? Just is it just H.264, like, you know, MP4, or what? Just kind of curious there. So go ahead and answer that. But I'm gonna move on to the next topic, which is another Threadripper related thing. Thank you for reminding me about this one, because I had forgotten about this and I felt dumb.
Yeah,
so Threadripper has NVMe RAID support now, which is a really big deal, especially considering the amount of PCI Express lanes that Threadripper has. It's really great to see a massive amount of NVMe storage options available. So that's a good sign. So it's bootable. A lot of the boards actually have 3 NVMe SSD slots too. So so it's bootable. Again, it's bootable. he had to put that in there twice too to make sure we got that out because it's bootable, which is pretty important. So that's a really cool thing there. NVMe RAID has been a kind of a little bit of a issue topic in a way. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, because that was really the one advantage that X299 had. So.
Yeah, that was. So Threadripper now has the one main thing, which realistically, in my opinion, I always felt like booting from it isn't a big deal. When you're looking at when you're looking at needing that kind of speed, it's generally not to load applications.
Yeah.
And so what I would do personally in that setup, even if it was bootable, which it is, I would throw say 3 1 terabyte NVMe's in a Threadripper system. I'd have one for boot and all my applications and anything else that I want to throw in there, downloads, pictures, whatever, and then have the other 2 software RAID zeroed. Or potentially hardware. I prefer software. It's a little bit easier to recover from if there's a problem, although RAID 0 you can't recover from. But anyway, just 2 1 terabytes, throw those in RAID 0. That would be for consistent, reads and writes there for videos and stuff. So yeah. Let's see. Well, you go ahead and keep going through that because I don't know all the details here.
So if you want to be able to use 10 devices for it, you have to use a riser card with a clock buffer in the X16 slot. Once each card counts as 1 device for the limit of 7 PCIe devices. It's unknown right now if Asus's Hyper M.2 X16 will work on Threadripper, so we don't know if that'll work.
Okay.
Other than that, this is going to require a new version of UEFI RAID or UEFI, I mean.
Yeah, it's going to require a new UEFI update, but that's not hard to do.
Yeah, and then RAID 0, RAID 1, and RAID 1+0 will be
which
available.
is RAID 10 is what usually people call that. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, that's really technically RAID 1+0.
Yeah. And then no requirement.
No requirement on the brand. That's really good too.
In other words,
that's really good too. Not Intel.
Intel SSDs on AMD. Do it.
Yeah, might as well, right?
I mean, look, that's how my build
right.
was before the build.
And Kevin replied, I did not read your last message all the way, and I apologize for that because you did say what you're recording to, and I'm sorry. But yeah, an AX53 with HDMI out to an Atomos recorder, that is really, really, really nice.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the Atomos before, but
it's beautiful.
I was just looking at it.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's super cool.
I need money.
Yeah, now you need money. No, I think we're good with what we have for now, or what I have. I'm good with what I have for now. Sorry, it's not your camera.
I'm never.
Yeah, you're never. Well, I'm planning to upgrade to potentially. No, my next step is probably a GH5,
and then a red.
Then a Sony cinema camera that are like 5K. Then a red, depending on the channel.
No, just go to the Apple store and pick up a red camera.
Right. Just here's 50 grand, just cash.
No, you don't spend 50 grand on that one. It's like 20.
It's just the body.
No. You didn't watch MKBHD's video.
Oh, do they have a cheaper one?
Apple selling a full red camera kit that comes with the camera, all the accessories and stuff you need to get going with it, and a lens and everything.
And a bunch of SSDs
In
that
fact,
fail.
It's one of his favorite
Interesting.
No, because Linus is like the only person that's had that problem.
Okay. Interesting. About 3.5 hours on a 1 terabyte SSD, Kevin. Yeah, that's pretty insane there. Yeah, with and the GH5. Yes, the GH5 is so nice. So what I have right now is the Panasonic G7 is what I'm filming on, which I'm really, really, really happy with. It's the same sensor as the GH4, slightly tweaked in software, so it's got a little bit better video quality. Actually, absolutely love this camera, but it's going to become my B camera in the future, assuming the channel grows the way I hope it does. So GH5 is my next goal. I'm very excited for that, but I got to get more lenses and stuff.
GH6 is rumored next year with 8K.
We'll see. Then maybe I'll end up going with that. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Worst case scenario, the GH5 drops in price.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the G7 until I can really afford something though. So.
Panasonic confirmed 8K by the end of 2020.
By the end of 2020. Okay. All right.
They might do because I know that the GH5 does 6K capture for pictures and then.
Yeah.
It's weird,
I don't know all the details behind the GH5, but I just need to get macro lenses for this guy here and a solid
We need to do an entire podcast with a macro lens on your nose.
That would be beautiful. That would be absolutely amazing.
High quality.
Just boop.
Yeah.
Just my nose the whole time. Except I move too much for that. That wouldn't work.
Nope. We have to have it like mounted to your head and like gyroscope.
Yeah, right. Oh man. Okay, so anyway, that's it for Threadripper for now. I've got some announcements and stuff about the channel too to talk about at the very end here, so you guys should totally stick with us. Am I plugged in? I am not plugged in. My laptop is not plugged in. I should probably grab my charging cable. Talk about something.
Something.
Let's
continue on computer hardware news. So, GDDR5 prices have increased by 30%.
I'm plugged in.
August.
Okay, I'm back. I'm plugged in. My bad.
So this is not good for graphics cards.
They already are starting to go up in price. Have you noticed that recently? Like I was searching for 1070s because I'm planning a new build. Wasn't really going to use one, but I looked it up anyway. And I mean, they're like $50 to $100 more than they're supposed to be right now.
That's also in part because of
the miners are using 1070s, but it's also true with some of the other GPUs. Like the 1060's gone up in price over the last week.
What I was going to say is because all of the AMD cards are being taken for mining, more NVIDIA cards are being sold for gaming as well.
Yes.
So gaming is also eating up a lot of the supply.
Right.
But the reason for this increase on price in GDDR5 is the focus on mobile chips.
Right.
All of the available DRAM is being put into mobile because it's booming.
Because there's money.
Yeah.
Money matters. And that's actually really unfortunate in my eyes. I mean, we need to not have that. Although, AMD is not affected by this on Vega. Because Vega uses HBM. And this is a DRAM shortage, and HBM is manufactured exclusively by SK Hynix right now.
If this keeps up, GDDR5 is going to surpass HBM in price.
And that's when HBM will make sense. Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but it's kind of unfortunate, really, realistically. I'm assuming they're going to start ramping up production. Samsung has already said they're planning to ramp up production of
but
DRAM.
How much of that will then get taken up by mobile?
Right, exactly. That is a problem. So HBM might end up being the way to go for high-end desktop stuff because of this exact thing. I mean, RAM prices in general, DDR4 is ridiculously expensive right now. That's part of why I don't want to. That's part of why I have 32 gigs that I'm pulling out of my server to put in my Threadripper build. Is I don't really want to have to buy it right now because it's so overpriced. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, so Chrome 61 has entered the stable channel. So the stable update channel for Chrome 61 is now out. So just a few minor tweaks. It's actually nothing super major, but it is still a decent update. So it's rolled out on all OSs that are rolling out. I don't believe it's actually necessarily everybody's got it yet, but it's going to be available, Android, everything like that. So there's going to be the Web USB API, meaning no external drivers will be needed for USB devices. That's mostly for Chromebooks there, obviously, but basically you don't have to install sketchy drivers or anything like that to get certain things to work.
And I think this will allow you to actually rename. I know that was planned. It was either going to be in this or a future update.
Yeah, it's probably this. It's probably this.
USB devices.
Yeah, so that's good to know. And it's nothing major really that I'm super excited about, but it's definitely cool to see that they're trying to work hard at it. And the big thing is most USB devices worked totally fine on Chromebooks and Chrome OS, but the problem was certain, especially high-end devices and stuff like that, which not that they're that often used on Chromebook, now they just work.
Yeah.
They just made it so they just work, and that's really nice. Now, the payment request API is just a more secure built-in payment method in Chrome. That's pretty cool. Websites haven't started to take advantage of it yet, but I'm assuming they will within a year-ish. It's going to take some time. Nothing super major about that. There wasn't a whole lot of details given about the payment request API. But let's see, Network Information API. So websites can actually access your connection data. And by that, I mean, obviously they can access your IP and stuff. They've always been able to do that. But they're going to be able to also access your download, upload speed, your signal strength, other things like that, which is cool because that's going to allow them to potentially give you a better experience. Maybe, for really big sites, they could have compression prioritization. People that have faster connections aren't getting as compressed of a website, whereas people that have slower connections get a much more compressed, and maybe they don't get the images at first or something like that. So that's could be a big tool for developers. This one I'm really excited about. Device RAM API. So this here, Chrome's a RAM whore. We all know Chrome's a RAM whore.
What?
Yeah, I know, right? It's it's mind-blowing. I wonder how much Chrome is using right now. Let's find out. Let's see. Memory. Google Chrome is using the most memory for the top 5. Here.
For me, Google Chrome is using almost 75%.
Yeah, it's using Google Chrome here is using a massive amount for me. and on my desktop it tends to use like 15 gigs.
Well, to be fair,
okay, I have like 50 tabs open. Yes,
he keeps like 25 tabs pinned.
Yes, it's like 14. Okay, pinned. You can see it from here.
You keep more tabs pinned than I keep open, and I keep open a lot of tabs.
Keep open a lot. Hey, shush! I have an ultra wide for a reason. I gotta use it.
Not for tabs. It's for multiple windows.
No, it's for tabs.
Fake news.
Okay. So anyway, this device RAM API will allow websites to monitor your RAM usage, meaning they could potentially give you a, again, more compressed or something like that website, which would basically just allow you to, use less RAM, hopefully. I don't know how many places are going to take full advantage of that. Yeah. It's Chrome's underlying infrastructure that uses a lot of RAM, not the website's fault necessarily, but it could help a little bit.
Yeah.
It would also, potentially help certain websites, like if you have a lot of tabs open, be prioritized or whatever. Chrome could already do that, but it might just be a little bit better there. Also, on mobile, if you rotate the screen when you're watching a video on any site, it automatically full screens it, just like YouTube or whatever would.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Back to the RAM thing though. This could also be cool for using some kind of like you could now make like web apps that could do things like monitoring RAM usage for performance statistics and stuff.
That's true, and they're going to be limited to the RAM usage of a specific tab.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You could probably install extensions that could help with that. Extensions that could monitor how much RAM each individual tab is using. Because that's the problem is, so Chrome, actually, every single tab is in a container, is in a separate browser, so to speak. And then you're just switching in between them. It's not like other browsers like Firefox, I don't think have done this yet. I don't know if they're planning to, where it's all considered one browser. And the browser itself can crash. Whereas Chrome, usually it's one tab that will crash because it's that specific browser that crashes. But that's why when you go into Task Manager, you see a million Chromes. So it's really hard to know how much RAM Chrome in specific is actually using unless you add it all up.
Yeah.
This could help with that. You have like an extension you install and tells you, hey, these tabs are using this much RAM. Because once in a while you run into the issue where a certain website's having like a RAM leak or whatever, right? And you can't figure out which one. You see a tab using 4 gigs of RAM, but you can't figure out which one because they're all labeled Chrome. So definitely interesting and potentially really useful there. So, okay, let's see. We've got a couple comments here to go over. So Alien Technology says DDR4 RAM prices are crazy. Yes, they are. It's actually annoying. So I'm hoping that they start to come back down by the end of the year, but we'll see. If not, I'll just have to bite the bullet. But yeah, so kind of ridiculous. And yes, Kevin, it is that expensive. Okay, that would be considered expensive. So a year ago DDR4 was a little bit more, or it was about 2 years ago, it might be more like what you're thinking, was more expensive because it kind of was being adopted and it wasn't as mainstream. Now that DDR4 is all over the mainstream everything, it went down in price a lot and now it's back up almost double. In fact, I was looking at DDR4 prices about a week and a half ago, and they've gone up for like a 32 gig kit, like $50, the same exact kits over the last 2 weeks. Yeah. They just started to spike. They'd already spiked, but then last week is when we had the reports about all the DRAM shortages, and they just spiked up again. Really unfortunate. Yeah, so that's unfortunate. But then Kevin says let's see. Yeah, I spent so much on video gear that you don't have enough for a Threadripper build right now. Yeah, for sure. I understand that. I try and kind of go back and forth. I just bought a bunch of video gear myself to help up the quality of this. That's why I actually have lighting now, which is nice. But I mean, I'm not doing super high scale stuff, so it means cheap lights. But what kind of stuff are you filming, Kevin? I'm interested. I'm curious. Next topic, Coffee Lake.
Yeah, this was posted.
Did we not talk about it? No, we skipped.
No, this was posted 8 hours ago. This is new.
Whoa.
Yeah, so there were some websites, I think in...
Is this officialized or is this rumor?
Well, the details of this, a website had posted this essentially pre-order listings in, I don't know which country that is.
Oh, okay. And then they took them down, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so there's actually information.
Yeah,
so it's probably accurate. So
several Chinese
Coffee Lake desktop stuff got leaked, guys. Yeah. That's what we're getting at. Sorry.
Chinese-based retailers posted Coffee Lake pre-orders for the i7 8700K, i5 8600K, and i3 8350K.
Okay. Interesting.
And this gives us, I think, details
so basically,
on core counts. Yes,
so it's core counts and clock speeds. It's all down here. Yeah. So basically, what we're getting here is Intel doing exactly what we thought, and they're still behind AMD right now. So anyway, let's go through the lineup. Let's see here. So i3 8100 is going to be a quad core, 4-core, 4-thread at 3.6 gigahertz. No boost or anything like that. So it looks like, are the i3s just not getting boost now? Yeah. Or is that just not confirmed? I mean, maybe that's correct. Maybe that's what they're doing to hinder them. I don't know. Yeah, I bet you that's a price thing. Yeah, they got to do a thing where they can go, well, you want to pay, you need to pay more if you want the boost speeds.
They list a base clock and do not list a boost in the official listing, whereas they do list a boost in the other ones.
On the K series, yeah.
Seems like that's the case, although we don't know.
So this is probably their price differentiation, because they're like, oh, they're quad cores. So in order to differentiate them,
well, I mean, like the K. So the 8300K and the 8350K have the same base clock and still no boost. The only difference between those two is that
one's a K and one's not. Yeah. And then the 50, which doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
It's actually, the 50 is actually on. Okay, so anyway, going back through the lineup, though, there's the i3 8300, which is a 4-core, 4-thread at 4 gigahertz, and then an i3 8350K, which is a 4-core, 4-thread at 4 gigahertz again. Now the 8350K, being a K part, is unlocked, so you can overclock that one. I wouldn't be surprised if you can hit well over 5 gigahertz on that, assuming that Coffee Lake is just Cabby Lake, which it is. So now let's see here. Intel Core i5 8400 is a 6-core, 6-thread, so that's the differentiation here between i5 and i7 is still hyper-threading. 2.8 gigahertz base, 3.9 gigahertz boost, and a all-core boost of 3.5 gigahertz. I'm going to go on a rant about the all-core boost again here in a minute. Did that last stream. That pissed us both off. Yeah. Then there's the i5.
Now, one thing I do want to mention.
Yeah.
The actual listings don't mention all-core.
Okay,
they also don't even mention boost clock for the...
For the 8350K. Yeah, okay.
So, but they don't mention all-core boost, I don't think. Yeah, I'm not seeing that anymore.
Okay, well, that is...
they're just pulling that from their...
Theorized, then, probably. Because this is a WCCF tech article that I'm reading, guys. So a little bit of a grain of salt.
Because everything that we've seen in this has not proven wrong their existing leaked lineup.
Yeah,
they are just rolling with the leaked lineup.
Yes. Whereas the clock speeds and the core counts and the names are confirmed at this point. Like, there's no denying that, unless this Chinese retailer are just trolls.
Yeah, trolls in the exact same way that WCCF Tech already had.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. So the i5 8600K is a 6-core, 6-thread, 3.5 gigahertz base, 4.4 gigahertz boost, and potentially a 4.2 gigahertz all-core boost. Also unlocked because it's the 8600K there. And then we got the Intel Core i7 8700, which is a 6-core 12-thread part at 3.2 gigahertz base, 4.6 gigahertz boost, and 4.2 gigahertz potentially all-core boost. And then the i7 8700K, 6-core 12-thread, 3.7 gigahertz base, 4.7 gigahertz boost. Woo, that's a high boost. And 4.3 gigahertz potential all-core boost. So, yeah, and cache-wise is 1 megabyte of cache. This is level 2 cache, sorry. 1 megabyte of level 2 cache for all i3s, 1.5 megabytes of level 2 cache for i5s and i7s. And then when it comes to the level 3, you're looking at the 2 base i3s having 6 megabytes, the K part, the 8350K, having 8 megabytes. The i5 8400, or sorry, both i5s, 9 megabytes of L3 cache, and then both i7s, 12 megabytes of L3 cache. Kind of interesting. So, all-core boost, right?
Yeah, I mean,
all-core boost.
You went on a good enough rant before. Probably. I think we should wait to do another one until it's confirmed.
Yeah, probably. The all-core, okay. I can agree with you.
I love with seeing this and getting more confirmation on this, though, about the core counts, that we now are in a situation where we're going to have an extreme i5 with less cores than a mainstream i5. And hardly any other differences.
It's so aggravating. Like, Intel, what are you doing at this point? What are you doing?
They're playing catch-up.
With your line? They're not even just playing catch-up. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They literally are confused.
I think it's that they're jamming in multiple years worth of product development into one.
Probably, yeah. Shit that they were going to release next year or the year after or something, yeah.
So they're just kind of rushing everything, and it's causing it to look like they don't know what they're doing, when in fact, they knew what they were doing as far as screwing consumers before.
Yes.
They just now have to stick it all together.
They now have to try really hard to show that they weren't screwing consumers.
One other thing that's interesting that's listed on this this article is it talks about the Intel Pentium G4.
Does it talk about price at all on the...
No, the actual listings don't mention U.S. pricing. I mean, you have your adjusted pricing, but it's a rough average. But they do detail three different Pentiums. The Pentium G4 720, it looks like is going to have...
Is it a quad core?
It's a 2-core 4-thread.
Okay.
Up to 3.9 gigahertz.
Okay. Hyper-threaded Pentiums again. Yeah, so that might actually be a competition area. I would still probably, though, depending on the price, I'd probably still say go with a quad-core 4-thread Ryzen 3.
Yeah.
But, this is basically showing us that Intel is trying to compete, but they only have 6 cores. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, no matter how crazy high these clock speeds get, 5.1, 5.2 gigahertz overclocked or something like that, average, say, on the 8700K, you're still looking at better performance out of an 8-core 8-thread at 4.2 gigahertz like you can get from Ryzen. And in my opinion, I would spend probably what's going to be less money. The 8700K is probably going to be over $400, let's be real. I'd rather spend a little bit less money, get the extra 2 threads, and maybe get slightly worse gaming performance, but realistically, it's not like Ryzen has trouble pushing the majority of titles over 130 frames per second, right? So it's not like you're going to see a difference unless you're gaming on like 240 hertz, which isn't, at that point, is almost a waste of money if you're going up to that high, unless you're a real competitive esports gamer. So, I mean, it's kind of, Intel's still shooting themselves in the foot. It's confusing, it's Coffee Lake, but it's not really Coffee Lake, let's be real, And aren't they going to have the Kaby Lake Plus stuff? Isn't that also going to be considered 8th gen? Isn't it?
Yes, but not for...
Not for
that
desktop.
Seems like it's laptop only.
That's laptop only, but still. So that means we're going to have Kaby Lake Plus and Coffee Lake on the same generation.
Getting a third one.
And we're getting a third one. That's right. We're going to get Cannon Lake.
Yeah.
Is also supposed to be 8th gen. But they confirmed it was 8th gen.
Yes.
So we're going to get 3 there. Right now what we have is Skylake and Kaby Lake on our current platform. Yeah. So sorry, he's showing me a title here. We're gonna get to that when we got some Destiny news. That's interesting. So anyway, that's what's going on with the Intel lineup there, though. A little bit unsurprising.
Yeah.
More sadness.
Want to talk about more stupid Intel stuff?
Oh yay! Let's do it. Yeah, the die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you check this out? Did you actually look at it?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to pull this one up because this is actually funny. Okay. So this is from PC Per here. Full credit goes to them. Let me swap over to our screen cap really quick. Full credit goes to PC Per for this.
Were they the ones that actually did the delitting?
No, Der Bauer did the delitting, so I guess credit goes to him as well. But I mean, for the article, for the image you're seeing, they posted it on their site. So this is what the die looks like on the 18-core. What is it? The 79. I had it listed.
7980XE.
7980XE. So this is the 18-core massive processor. Now this shows what happens when you don't glue chips together. Look how massive this die is, and they're still not using solder, guys, which I'll rant about in a moment. But as you can see, there was clearly thermal interface material here, kind of an adhesive thermal paste that went around and went on top of this die. Really, really, really lame there. Again, Der Bauer is the one that actually did the delitting and talked about it. He got his hands on an 18-core Skylake X. It's a 7980XE, but PC Per posted the article. Swapping back over to our video footage. So yeah, even on their higher-end parts, they're not going to be soldering, which is really, really, really unfortunate. So a couple things to talk about here, basically. A couple things we're learning here is, first off, the reason the clock speeds are so low, which, what was it, 2.6 gigahertz base, I believe it was, for the 7980XE. Of course, they're going to be overclockable, absolutely. But who knows how much power that's going to consume, and who knows how well they're going to overclock. It's a massive monolithic die. And the problem you get there is when you find when you're changing die sizes, which AMD is not, with their CCX architecture on EPYC, the CCX architecture in general, they're basically connecting units together, but then they're actually having separate dies. That's why EPYC and Threadripper are so massive, is they have a separate dies. So Threadripper has 2 dies at a diagonal section, and then when you've got EPYC, you've got all 4 corners filled with a die. And by doing that, that allows them to get A, it's cheaper to manufacture, but B, it should allow them to get higher clock speeds and whatnot and potentially higher power efficiency. Yes, you have to have inter-die communication, which is done through the Infinity Fabric. There are some latency things there, but it's really not generally noticeable except for very specific use cases. And so AMD should be able to hit consistently higher clock speeds, which they've already kind of shown with Threadripper because of that. Whereas Intel doing the monolithic die, they're going to have troubles hitting as high of clock speeds because it's a single die. Yeah. Now, it's a massive die. It's it is still a beautiful piece of work, but then again, it's also just a Xeon. They already had this. If you delit a fucking Xeon, you're going to see the same thing. Yeah. I don't even know if Xeons might actually be soldered. No, maybe Xeons might be soldered. I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody in the comments if I'm wrong about that. But still no solder on this. So, as a lot of you know, there's been an argument for a very long time, and some of you might not know, between the way AMD and Intel handles the actual die to the, heat spreader on top of the die for the CPU. What's up?
I think I just found this.
We got some news.
Well, no, I thought this had Xeon stuff. Never mind, go back to the
okay. So anyway, so the argument is kind of an age-old argument, and it might go back further than this, but when I first heard about it was basically the FX series versus, I think it was Ivy Bridge at the time. So AMD's FX series always had a soldered IHS. That's an integrated heat spreader. So basically you have the actual little PCB that the CPU goes on. You've got the die in the center, and then you've got the integrated heat spreader, the IHS that goes on top. Well, the IHS on AMD's is actually soldered directly to the die, which allows near perfect heat transfer, meaning you never have to worry about anything weird going wrong there. And since it's solder, that way, the dies aren't perfectly flat necessarily. Since it's, and especially the IHS isn't perfectly flat. By using solder, it fills in the cracks. And so soldering makes a lot of sense, and you don't need to delid. There's no extra work needed. Well, Intel, for the longest time, has not been soldering. They use TIM, thermal interface material. It's basically an adhesive thermal paste that goes between the IHS and the die directly. And when they do that, that can cause problems when it comes to overclocking and temperature. So if you get like some bad TIM, for example, or you don't get even spread, or you get too thick of it, too thick of an amount, or it's just low quality in general, you can potentially have bad heat transfer, especially when you get into the higher temperatures, like when you start overclocking and stuff. And if the heat can't come off of the actual die and get onto the IHS, which is what your thermal paste and your CPU cooler goes on top of, you can't cool it. It doesn't really matter at that point. There's not actual heat transfer from the die to the IHS, so it doesn't matter how cold the IHS gets. You're not going to get a bunch of better cooling going directly to the die. You're not going to get lower temps. This was a big problem with the original 4770K and 4670K, the Haswell parts, the i5 and i7 that were overclockable there. When people would start to overclock them, they'd have issues with temperatures in particular because of really bad TIM. And so what people would do is they would delid them so that they could then get direct die contact with the cooler. Problem with that is, A, you got to be really careful because it's risky delidding. B, you're still more likely to damage that die when it's directly exposed when you're putting a cooler on top of it. So, yeah. So delidding is not a great idea necessarily, but it was necessary to get better overclocks. Well, Intel pretended to learn from this and released the 4790K and the 4690K. Those had new thermal interface material that didn't have as many problems. Overclocks were looking at, I'd say, average of like 0.3, 0.4 gigahertz higher. Nothing major, but it was still a big deal. And the chips that were capable of hitting really high clocks, like 5.1 gigahertz, was pretty high for Haswell at the time. It was a big, big deal because they couldn't have done that on chips that, say, could reach that without delidding before they upgraded the TIM. You'd think Intel would learn. And in fact, I believe the Haswell Extreme chips were actually soldered. But then they went back to using TIM instead of solder on the high-end stuff now, which is a really stupid mistake. So that's kind of frustrating to me. I think we have some comments too.
So I'll start from what I'm seeing most recent. We got asked if by Loxenrev, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that either.
Should Microsoft put Windows 10 Home on the new Xbox One X? No, they should not put a full Windows 10 on there because it is already supporting the Windows apps from the Windows Store.
Yeah, right. So it's kind of already like a version, it's already a version of Windows at this point. It's just designed
OS
to be more...
that works with a controller.
Yeah, it's more user-friendly.
having to have a keyboard and mouse. Ultimately, I just don't see the
I don't see there'd be a major reason to that. I think just better integration with Windows 10 would be good, but they're kind of already doing that. Yeah. So I mean, especially with the Xbox app, intercommunication there, cross-platform play, stuff like that, especially cross-platform parties and stuff like that. So yes, it's as Kevin said, it's a subset of Windows 10 already. Yes, that's correct. It is. So yes, but no, so he's saying regular Windows 10. I don't think that'd be a great idea. Just if you're gonna do that, just get a PC, I guess, because the thing is, the majority of people aren't gonna be aren't gonna want that, because the people that are buying it aren't necessarily like PC users at all. They just want something to game on, right?
Yeah. And then as far as the rest of the comments seem to be about performance of the system and the hardware. I'm not going to talk too much on that right now, because I think that once we talk a little bit about Destiny 2, the whole opinion on the weak CPU might change a little bit for certain games, so we'll talk about that.
Yes, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's true. It's just a... let's see, a Jaguar CPU overclocked. Yeah. Yes, that is true. So which is based on the AMD Bulldozer architecture originally. So it's basically an Xbox One processor on steroids.
Yeah.
It's the same CPU in a sense. The biggest upgrade actually came from the GPU. So yeah, Alien Technology is totally right about this in the comment section here. Yeah, the GPU itself is the big upgrade.
The other thing is the
RAM.
No.
Sorry.
The hardware on the motherboard for DX12 processing.
Thank you.
So, yes, the CPU itself isn't all that spectacular, but it needs less draw calls for anything DX12 related by a significant
Correct,
amount.
yeah, and draw calls, when the GPU, for those of you who don't know, is when the GPU is working, it basically is requesting information, making draw calls on the CPU. Yeah. That's part of why CPU bottlenecks exist. It's not just what the CPU is doing in game, but it's also the GPU itself doing draw calls.
Like some things that would take hundreds of draw calls on normal hardware would take 10 to 12 on the Xbox One
because of that, and so that does reduce a lot of the strain on the CPU and help with the CPU bottlenecking there.
On top of the fact that
any
DX12
CPU bottlenecking is going to be
an improvement for
exactly.
CPUs.
Yeah, DX12 along with Vulkan. Low-level APIs in general are better for draw calls. That's one of the big things of Mantle, which is now Vulkan, developed by AMD originally. Well, technically Kronos Group, and DirectX 12. Yeah. The main thing is less draw calls on the CPU, so that allows the CPU to be more freed up to handle actual in-game rendering and stuff like that. Yeah. And so the CPU can focus on the game more than focusing on feeding the GPU with the information that it needs. So,
in fact, instead of moving on to mobile, let's just talk Destiny, because that has relevant stuff for what we're
we can talk. We're gonna move on to Destiny. Also, Bleer, I think is how you say that. Lol, it's 6:40 a.m. here in Germany. Hi, nice to see you in Germany. I'm kind of part German, so that's cool. But thank you for watching so early in the morning. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So as you can see, I have Destiny 2 on the PS4. However,
it's a beautiful game.
The PS4 version is still happening to have issues with permissions to access online multiplayer. Bungie is investigating it. They've been doing that for a couple of hours. Yeah. Now I can't play it anyway because I'm doing this, so at this point it no longer affects me.
Yeah, but it's still really unfortunate that it had to be down on the launch day, and it's not like the servers are overloaded. They're just not working.
Well, we don't know what caused it.
Well, I'm assuming whatever it is, if it's a permissions-based thing, somebody fucked up.
It's just saying that, though. It doesn't necessarily mean
that doesn't mean what happened, but if Bungie's telling the truth... but if the error report is... Yeah.
I don't think the error code's correct, because the error code has been around, or the error report has been around since Destiny 1, and it's something that's generally a network issue. Like on the PS4, one of the examples for fixing it was if you were on wireless and you plugged in an Ethernet cable to just rerun network setup.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And I did that. It didn't fix it. I tried it on wireless and wired, blah, 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 blah. Ultimately, it's just having issues. Oh, well, tomorrow's my Friday, so I'll just go home and do nothing but play that.
Yeah. Assuming it's back up, which I really hope it is. I'm sure they're working around the clock on it.
Yeah. What I wanted to talk about
is this official?
Yes. So I'll go through this. Digital Foundry. Very reliable
I love Digital Foundry. They're a great place.
Digital Foundry did some testing, and with a GTX 970. And this is why I brought up CPUs.
I used to own one. Just saying.
I own one.
You do own one. Yes. That's right. I used to own one.
With a mere Pentium 4560,
okay.
clocked at 3.5 gigahertz. Destiny 2 can easily run at native 4K at pretty much locked 30 FPS. So for those saying that PS4 Pro and Xbox One X can't handle 4K, it is all about optimization because this is a fantastically optimized game.
Assuming that it continues to be fantastically optimized for other GPUs and other
There was
AMD.
no reports of widespread issues on the beta.
Right, yeah. So I'm assuming that this is actual proper optimization pretty much everywhere. What I will say is, CPU scaling should help a lot.
So the PC version is being developed by Vicarious Vision, who also did the Crash Bandicoot remake for PS4.
Right.
They seem to be doing a fantastic job at PC ports, so Activision used them more.
Yes.
On top of that, though, let's say you want to play at 60 FPS, and you have a 970, and that same processor. Well, drop the settings down a little bit, few graphic settings, and the resolution down to... Initially, when I saw the title of this, I thought it said 1080p, and so I thought the title was sarcastic. And then I looked at it, 1800p, 970, and a Pentium G4560 complete.
Wow. Okay.
So you can choose 4K high at 30, or 1800p, 60 FPS at like medium high.
Yes. I want to address something in the comments really quick because Kevin mentioned something. When he said locked 30 FPS, he meant like a locked, like the 970 can consistently get it. The game's not capped there.
No.
I think that was a little bit of a misrepresentation. No, the game's not capped at 30 FPS. It's just a 970 at native 4K at near max settings with a Pentium G4560 is capable of running a consistent 30 FPS.
As far as it not allowing cross-platform PvP and co-op, there's a few reasons for that. For one, Sony is still working out details. Sony and Microsoft are still in talks for handling Xbox and PC. And then on top of that, PS4, because of a contract with Sony, has through the life cycle of Destiny 2 exclusive content.
Yes.
And so if you allow cross-platform play, you then run into the issue of, okay, well, if you want to play with your PC friends or Xbox friends, you can't play on certain maps.
Yeah.
You can't do certain strikes. You're all around just having issues.
Right.
So, but no. So the game Destiny 2 on PC, because of the next comment, is playable up to 200 FPS.
Okay, which is totally fine.
Yeah,
that's totally solid.
It's effectively uncapped.
Yeah.
Because it's not a Twitch shooter. Like, it's not like CS:GO.
So you don't need higher than 200 realistically. Yeah. And most things aren't going to push it that high anyway. Also another thing, back to the PvP and cross-platform is PC has an inherent advantage because of mouse and keyboard.
It's true.
And that's the same reason that Overwatch actually does have cross-platform between Xbox and PlayStation.
No, it doesn't.
But yeah, it does.
No, it does not.
I read multiple articles on it.
That's not true.
You continue
Sony
talking.
Literally does not allow it.
I'll do some research on that.
Sony does not allow it.
Okay, I'll do some research. You keep talking.
Sony doesn't allow cross-platform play. That's the issue with why Rocket League hasn't implemented it. Because they do allow it with PC.
Right.
But they do not allow it with Xbox.
Okay.
So, back to this, though. So, the running it in 1800p at medium-high is mostly 60. It's not consistent. There are a few drops into high 40s or low 50s in the busiest times, but in general, 60. And if you're using variable refresh rate, then you're fine anyway.
Okay, interesting.
But this is all around very impressive for a... Now, Bungie's even saying this isn't a port. They are saying this is straight up a complete build-out for this.
Okay, that's good. That's really good. So they were doing it simultaneously, the development. Yeah. Okay. You were right about Overwatch, by the way. I stand corrected. Yeah. What I read was, I don't know if this was the exact article, but Blizzard will do it if they can.
Yeah. So essentially, once Sony and Microsoft work out terms, because the biggest thing is like, because we're seeing like the Switch getting cross-platform play with Minecraft.
Yes.
However, that is Nintendo allowing Microsoft sign-in on the Xbox or on the Switch for that game in specific. Right. Sony doesn't want to do that because users already have to pay for PlayStation Plus, and so if they have to sign into Xbox Live for certain games, that inherently creates more issues.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
On top of that, though, Sony's on top, so they don't give a fuck.
Yes, they don't.
It's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's a monopoly thing in a way.
Microsoft didn't even allow cross-platform play with PC, with their own operating system when they were on top.
Smash!
Yeah. It's very frustrating.
It's very frustrating. So, okay, a couple of comments to address really quick. Sorry that you got blocked for a moment there, Kevin, for typing too fast. Yeah, YouTube auto chat settings. Sorry about that. But yeah, so yes, Xbox One X is going to have a capped, Exynetek saying a capped 30 FPS at 4K. I would guess that even if the Xbox One X could hit mostly consistent 60 at 4K natively, I bet you there's going to be moments where it doesn't, especially in areas where the CPU can't keep up, CPU-heavy areas where there's lots of entities.
The Xbox One X does support variable refresh rate, though.
That's true. But I bet you they locked it at 30 because there were moments where it was like 45, 50, and they prefer to have a locked, consistent frame rate on console.
Yeah.
And so if you can't hit 60 guaranteed, in like 99% of instances, they're going to drop it. And, you know, a game that's, you know, PvE, entities tend to use a lot of processing power, and so that's going to be putting the strain on the CPU there. So I think that would probably be the reason why they're capping it at 30.
It was Vicarious Vision that did the PC version.
Yeah. Yes, which is really interesting. Let's see. So, okay, that was an answer to Kevin. Okay, and yeah, so Alien Technology saying games mostly on PC now. So yeah, I'm gonna be getting it on PC too. He just wanted to play it first.
I'm impatient.
Yeah,
so.
He's impatient. He likes Destiny. He played the first one. I didn't, but he's potentially you're gonna sell it potentially.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it depends on if I stop. I might play both.
Yeah. If you stop playing it, then you can just sell it, get like $30-$40 for it, and play it on
even
PC.
Even at GameStop, it'll only be less than 2 months. I could probably still get 30 for it.
Because we're gonna have a 6-man. Anyway, so on PC, yeah, we're gonna have like 10, which is gonna help a lot when other people maybe aren't online. So yeah. Thank you guys for sticking around for the podcast. By the way, really appreciate it. So just saying. Yeah,
Vicarious Vision's been around actually kind of forever. Like their first game came out in '96 for MS DOS or for Microsoft DOS.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
long time ago.
They're still doing games. Destiny 2 is just their most recent thing.
Okay.
So
very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move on to mobile stuff. Or are you done with Destiny?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's... Oh, actually, no. I want to call out Bungie for one major fuck up with this game.
Oh, great. What they do?
Almost all the reviews, fantastic, except they went and screwed up shaders.
What they do?
So do you know how shaders worked in Destiny 1?
No.
So essentially, a shader was something that you could just apply or remove from your character. It's coloring your armor. However, it applied to the entire set. Now, from my understanding in Destiny 2, you can pick and choose what it gets applied to. However, it's not an unlimited use thing anymore because they have microtransactions.
Did Destiny 1 have microtransactions?
They added them way later, and it didn't really affect this. It was, and again, it was still only for cosmetics, but they didn't decentivize unlocking it through the normal game by limiting it so hard.
Right.
In fact, last I had checked, it was like the number 4 post on Reddit on r/all was people bitching about this to Bungie.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's dropped a bit now. It's like 15.
Yeah, but still.
But yeah, shaders are not unlimited use now. You only get one use. There's no way to rebuy the one you've used.
So that's
pretty much just you apply it.
That's a money hound thing.
Yes.
That's a little frustrating. I don't like seeing Bungie take that approach towards anything.
Yeah. So
I don't like anybody taking that approach.
I agree with the title of the article. Do not spend a single cent on microtransactions until shaders become unlimited use.
Yeah, I can agree. I can stand with that, and I will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
If they would have done it because I get that they want more money. I also
but
get
they're getting so much too, right? Yeah.
I also even get the idea of incentivizing the purchasing. What I think what I would have still been tolerable, or what I would have still deemed tolerable, would have been if they would have done something like unlocking the shader allows you to apply it for a small amount of Glimmer, which is the in-game currency. You get a ton of it, and there's no longer a small cap like there used to be in the previous game on how much you could hold.
Yeah.
So if you could apply like an actual reasonable amount, you pay like 100 or 1,000. I don't know how the rate of earning it is in Destiny 2 since I can't play it. But if they were to give some kind of reasonable amount, you could apply it on a per item basis. Because I love that you can apply it on each different armor item, so you can really customize your character. Right. So if they wanted to make that as an addition with the sacrifice of slightly limiting applying it, I could have been okay with that.
Yeah, this is just retarded. Yeah, like that's actually messed up, and that frustrates me.
Destiny or Bungie has been pretty receptive to feedback, though. Very strong criticism.
Okay.
I mean, they did redo a lot of voice work after the alpha was so bad of Destiny 1.
Yeah.
So we'll
maybe
see. I
they'll
mean,
do
I
it,
feel
yeah.
like we'll get I would be surprised if we didn't get a response from this in a day or two.
Yeah, I would imagine they're going to change that. Because that is messed up. I agree completely. So there needs to be something done about that.
And that's the only bad thing I've really seen about this game.
Good. That's why I'm excited. Yeah. I would have bought one if it came to PC, but I just wasn't going to buy a console specifically for a game, you know?
Noob.
I don't game that much. Come on, I'm working on this all the time. Man. Yes. So.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 2 months for the PC version.
Yeah,
so
I have a feeling they're gonna fix
change.
some stuff. Yeah.
And the raid will be out by the PC version, so you won't even, because console version has to wait for the raid.
Right. That's true. So. That's true. We get the full version of the game when it comes out. I'm just glad that they're
they did that
releasing.
intentionally.
Yeah.
They want people to just play through the game and enjoy it rather than rush through to level 20 for the raid.
Okay, that makes sense. That's understandable.
They haven't. I don't think they've said yes or no. They very well might do that for the PC version. Yeah, it's only we'll a week wait. It's not like it's forever. But I mean, I think that's fair because it's also like a balancing thing for PvP.
Yeah.
Because while not necessarily the stats of the armor will matter but the abilities will.
Right.
So if the abilities for the raid gear are good, who knows?
Yeah. Interesting. I'm excited to play it myself, honestly, yeah. So we got some mobile stuff here. Snapdragon 836. No.
No Snapdragon.
No Snapdragon. That's a bad Snapdragon. So no Snapdragon 836, guys. The rumors about it being in the Pixel 2 were wrong, assuming that the rumors about it being in the S9 were wrong.
This has been confirmed by 2 different sources. A reliable source for XDA has confirmed this, and then also Android Police independently confirmed this.
Yes. Okay, interesting. So we don't know what the next is going to be, but it's not an A36. Yeah. So,
which most likely just means it's an actual significant upgrade. Now that being said,
that's true, which is about time. That means they didn't need to refresh any little things of the 835.
There are 2 variants of the 835.
Right. Okay.
So they already kind of have.
That's true. That's a good point. But basically, it's a no.
Yeah.
So I mean, that squashes any rumors surrounding the 836. So cool there. Watch one come out and we'll laugh. This looks really interesting. Yeah. So you talked about that. You wrote this in. Go ahead.
There's a company called You Break I Fix. They're like a gadget repair store, and something that they're doing is for people in Houston, or just those affected by Hurricane Harvey. They are offering to repair Pixels for free.
Google.
No charge at all.
Google Pixels.
Yes. So you can get, if during the hurricane your phone got damaged, you can just go to them and they'll do what they can to repair it at no cost to you. That's super cool.
That is really... Does that include parts?
They indicate no cost at all. They've teamed up with Google, so it seems like
so Google's probably like, hey, we'll give you the parts for free.
Yeah, you do the
labor, and then we'll help people. That's really cool because this hurricane is messed up.
So
hooray, Oregon! We never get natural disasters like fires and smoke.
hey, this one wasn't natural.
Okay, that's true. It was thanks to some kids. Yes.
Yeah. So repairs for this will be available through September 30th for free.
You know what? That hurricane is just a cover-up for the problems we're dealing with up here. It's not fair.
Shut up.
It's not fair.
Just shut up.
Oh, man. For those of you who don't know, we're in Portland and over here in the Northwest Oregon area. It's very, very, very smoky everywhere outside because some kids decided to throw some firecrackers off a cliff in the gorge.
It's very minor compared to what other
it's very minor compared to what's going on with Hurricane Harvey. I did not mean that
Irma.
And Irma. Yeah, I did not mean to downplay what's happening with them at all. Their stuff's way worse than us. I just wanted to say that for those of you that maybe haven't heard about it because of all the hurricane stuff, we have massive forest fires going on here and it sucks. So, not good. Wildlife burning down. It's a man-caused one. That's part of the problem there. It's frustrating to us. So, yeah.
Samsung. Another topic you forgot, but I'll let you talk about it.
Samsung? Yes, another one that I forgot. You reminded me and you put in there, and then I knew about it. So, Samsung... We're going to pretend it was my idea. Samsung has announced, not released yet, but it comes out soon, a 400 gigabyte micro SD card. A high-performance micro SD card. This is pretty interesting to me. So it's a UHS 1 class micro SD card, not a UHS 3. So it's not the fastest class that you can get out there. But they're claiming speeds up to 100 megabytes per second, which is going to be really useful for anybody that's using their phone to record like video or audio or something like that, especially in 4K. it's cool to see that massive amount of storage being available in such a small thing at such high, read and write speeds. So I'm excited for that. I probably won't be using one realistically. I don't store a ton on my phone anymore because I don't film with it like I used to because I've got the G7 here. But definitely still, very cool to see. It's also meets A1 app loading standard for quickly loading apps.
Yeah, so essentially...
I've not heard of that.
What it is, so the reason that Apple initially never offered SD card support was that apps running on SD cards would run like shit. And what does Apple not want on their devices? Things to run like shit.
Yeah.
That's their primary goal with a lot of the choices they make, and it does work very well. So they just said, screw it. No SD card, no data is going to be put on there because it doesn't run as well. It's also part of why Google got rid of SD card support on the Pixel.
Yeah.
Because things run better on internal storage. They run more consistently.
I think it's great to have one. Just make it a little bit more challenging for a user to actually set it up for apps being stored on it, which is kind of what Samsung's done.
Google tried to remove app. They did initially, and then OEMs kind of added like partial support for it.
Yes. Well, the whole adoption thing was really cool. We just need faster SD cards.
Yeah. Well, and so that's exactly what
that's what this is going to help with.
The A1 standard is there are standards for micro SD cards specifically for reliability and consistency and performance when it comes to application.
Right.
So this will be really good for phones. This will be really good for something like the Nintendo Switch.
Yes. Also, we need to get
terabyte SD cards?
Terabyte micro SD cards, yes. That's very important.
But yeah, so this will just all around be very good for applications. So again, phones.
We need to get NVMe on Android, is what I was going to say. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, that's the next step. But yeah, this is really cool. I didn't know about the A1 standard, so thank you. Really, really exciting actually. It's interesting for sure.
So this is also the micro SD card is $250.
Which really isn't bad when you think about it.
Especially since there was reports earlier in the year that we were going to get a 512 gig micro SD card from a smaller company this year.
Right.
For $1,000.
Yeah.
$2 a gig for a micro SD card. No. Not happening.
Yeah, no. What I will say is I keep losing my train of thought. SSDs. 1 terabyte SSDs, are around $300 right now. So when you consider, it's a little bit less for a 400 gigabyte micro SD card that has pretty good performance, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Now we just need micro SD card size mechanical spinning hard drives.
Next topic. Seeing as how there's been some talk of the iPhone in the chat.
Yes.
This is good timing. Yeah. Apple iPhone event is confirmed for November 12th.
Which is really exciting.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Apple fanboy, but I'm hoping for the 10th anniversary they do something that blows my mind. Probably still won't get one, but I'm hoping that they do.
We've already pretty much seen the screen layout.
Yes.
Really, the only thing that could be mind-blowing is them getting fingerprint unlock under the screen working, which is unlikely.
Yes, which is very unlikely, unfortunately.
And that being said, then this ties in with something that they've been talking about in the chat.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people going in the chat about
face unlock.
Face unlock versus fingerprint unlock.
Yes.
Fingerprint unlock, I'm a big fan of as well.
Mm-hmm.
We all, I think the majority of tech people, and probably the majority of regular people, if you actually ask them to think about it, wouldn't want face unlock. They'd prefer fingerprint unlock. And it's simpler. Even quality face unlock that say can do it. Like if your phone, here's my phone, is like sitting right here, and you look at it like that, and you like look at a spot on the phone. Even that, I would still prefer fingerprint myself.
Well, and one of the biggest problems that I would have with it is, and I had mentioned this in the chat, payments.
Yeah.
Because let's think about microtransactions in apps and using Apple Pay. For the payment.
Yes, which people are used to right now.
You have to do an action of placing your thumb.
Yes.
Whereas this would, unless they require you to do something like utterly ridiculous, like move your phone away and bring it back.
Or tap something on the screen, I guess. But
no matter what, there's some very unintuitive way to handle it. There is no way to intuitively do face unlock for payments.
Yeah, it's just not a good idea.
If you just have it, so if you're looking at it, you're authorized for payments, then you run into the issue of scammy apps. Mm-hmm. And then Apple becomes liable for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and Kevin made an interesting point in here, too. Actually, he was saying it's really bad for people that, maybe are using their phone while they're driving. Like I said, they shouldn't be. Yeah. But anybody that is, it's even more dangerous. Yeah. And it's not outlawed everywhere. It's not federally outlawed, right?
It's not. And even then, what if it's just something like you tap on that and just to unlock it, and then you're letting Kelvin use your
like
phone.
say you're handing your phone off to somebody to let them use it in the your passenger,
then
but you've got to fingerprint unlock it. Instead, you got to put it in front of your face and look at it.
Yeah,
or that's not good.
Or actually type in a code.
Yeah,
no matter what,
right, exactly.
Being way more distracted.
And that's not that. Yeah, I agree. That's not good.
Yeah.
So I mean, face unlock, I don't think is the solution, and I think it's what Apple's gonna do. And it makes me sad.
I think they're gonna implement it, but I'm very hopeful that they throw fingerprint sensor on the lock button.
Yeah.
Because if they get rid of fingerprint sensing for a year and then bring it back under the home button, that's gonna look so terrible.
But they're Apple. People will buy it anyway. Nobody cares.
I understand that, but it's like Steve Jobs would literally be rolling over in his grave.
Blow a gasket. Yeah.
He would fire everyone involved.
Yeah. Oh, it's unfortunate.
So,
Alien Technology made a good point too. They could put it on the back where the Apple logo is.
Yeah.
Put it under the Apple logo. That'd be actually kind of cool. I think.
I mean, yeah.
I think that would be kind of cool. You touch the Apple logo to unlock your phone.
I feel like they would have to, it couldn't be flat at that point. You would need some kind of divot.
Yeah, or even just a little, there's a little bit of a cutout on the edge so you can feel the border of it some. But, yeah, even so, whatever it is, it would still be cool. Yeah. It would still be cool. That's a better solution. Yes, it does. And so does LG. LG started handling the whole rear button thing back with the G2 and with the G3s when they added the fingerprint sensor to it, and it was great. Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely think that it's a mistake if they end up doing face unlock, even if it's quality face unlock, honestly. Some people are predicting it might be like presence unlock, like basically it detects your face, like if your phone's down on a table just sitting over here and like somebody unlocks it, it can detect your face, because the idea is that they might have, because it's going to be a premium iPhone is what we're pretty dang sure about, and they're going to have like potentially multiple little cameras in the upper area. One of them would be a 360 cam that's just designed not for face recognition. But
awful.
Well, hear me out. I mean, I agree, but the little 360 camera would not be designed necessarily for facial recognition. It would be designed for facial spotting. So it would be looking for faces, and once there's a face in an area, that basically tells it where to point the other camera that's doing the actual recognition that's higher resolution. And then that camera does the facial recognition.
That's still awful.
That probably will be slow.
I don't think
probably
there's
won't
enough
work all the
room
time.
Up top for that. Because again,
yeah, that would be really hard
layouts,
to do. Yes,
there's a little tiny cutout.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't think that's very, very viable, to be honest. And I mean, the other problem with that is so face unlock, the way it works in the dark, pitch black, is it shines an infrared light in your face, right? So it that way it can see your face. And I don't think you could get a bright enough infrared light that in a pitch black room you could have it laying on a table.
And Alien Technology makes another good point about banks would not be happy about Apple only having face unlock.
Yeah, that would bother banks a lot.
I bet banks, a couple banks would pull out.
Probably. Yeah, they probably would back out, because the thing is, it's going to be less secure, even if it's a 3D. Because again, with if they did the whole 360 camera thing, it's just detecting where faces might be, what looks kind of like a face. Then you've got the other camera that points and does actual 3D mapping of the face, right? So you couldn't necessarily use a picture, but potentially one bent just right would work.
Yeah.
And
there's always ways to figure out around that. It's just like with the iris scanners.
Twins' fingerprints are still different. Their faces aren't.
Yeah.
So
but it's also just like with the iris scanners, where they used 3D depth sensing to make that more reliable.
Yeah.
And then people figured out that if you stick a contact lens over the eye of a picture, you can usually get it to work.
Exactly, yes. And Kevin Duffy just said also another good point. Yeah, in the dark, fingerprint still works.
Yeah.
And yeah, in fact, actually, I have iris scanning right on my S8, which for some reason hates me. I don't understand why it literally won't work with my eyes. But even then, I wouldn't use it anyway, because I don't want to have to hold my phone up. I don't want to have a light shined in my face. It takes more time. Fingerprint is the way to go.
Yeah.
Until we can get like really good, like potentially iris, but realistically retinal scanning is what we would need. It would need quality retinal, because retinal is better than fingerprint.
Yeah,
factually.
For security.
I
think fingerprint.
If you can get quick, kind of really easy, you just kind of glance at it.
From now
retinal.
Personally, for me, I think from now on, fingerprint sensor should be on every phone for.
Yes, I agree. I'm saying like
future.
Long time future, maybe, but I don't know if it's even
DNA scans work.
Right, exactly. And I don't even know if you can do retinal scanning at long range. Because if you look at actual retinal scanners to like get into the secret agent lab or whatever, but actual ones that are used for security, you put your eyes up in it, and it's a dark sealed area, so it can scan the back of your retina.
If we can get it to work at long range, then I'll steal your phone. I'll go sit over there, and I'll just like
you just point it at me. Retinal scan. Yeah. Oh man.
But no, part of the reason I think that fingerprint sensors are the way to go,
yeah,
always, is because it requires an action, but it's a very easy action.
Yeah,
you have that choice.
Yes.
It doesn't take extra effort.
Well, what the retinal scanner could do is you blink.
Yeah, but you're gonna blink anyway.
I never blink.
Then you have a problem. But I think requiring an intentional action
makes a lot of sense.
Is very important
Yes.
especially for payments.
Alien Technology just said, can you imagine buying stuff by accident by looking at your phone?
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be terrible. So fingerprint is the way to go for at least a while.
Mm-hmm.
And we've learned this. It's easy to implement. It's cheap at this point. Now we just need to get it under the screen. That's what'll make it dope.
Yeah.
So
which we already have, it's just not working well enough yet.
Yeah, it's the consistency problem. Plus, like somebody I saw mention in chat there was, what if your screen breaks? Does your fingerprint stop working? That'd be bad.
Well, they would likely have just stronger displays in general.
Yeah,
because,
true.
They did like sapphire covering for the fingerprint sensors.
That's
Apple
true.
Does
They did.
spend a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
time
true.
thinking
They
about
did.
this
Yeah,
stuff.
that's true. I want Apple to have screens that don't break as easy. I want them to use GG5. Come on. I mean, they've gotten scratch resistance.
I want them to just use sapphire.
But that would be the best. Well,
we know that they've invested in it.
Well, they could use sapphire screen ceramic back. Ceramic's cheaper than sapphire. It's a little bit more brittle than sapphire, but just as scratch resistant.
Yeah.
Realistically, though, sapphire isn't necessarily the god of drop resistance. GG5, I believe, still survives drops better than sapphire.
But
sapphire, it doesn't handle scratches as well.
GG5 is worse for scratches than GG4.
Barely, but yes.
We need to be going up in both directions.
Yes, I understand that. Sapphire's just so expensive.
Yeah.
And it's a material you have to mine. So I understand that and I agree, but
I wonder if I bet Gorilla Glass is working on some kind of sapphire hybrid.
They might be, something that allows them to have the same drop protection that GG5 has, but then have GG4 level scratch resistance,
or even better, if they actually hybrid.
Sapphire mix. Because that's the thing is, like, I look at my S8 and in normal lighting and stuff like that with the screen on, like it looks flawless. But you start looking closely at it, especially on the back, actually, I think it is, there are micro scratches. Or no, on the front. There are micro scratches every now. Part of that might be the oleophobic coating that is on the front of the screen is much thicker on the front, and that coating can get scratched and look like a scratch. But some of it are definitely actual scratches, and I don't put my phone in, like, super sketch places. It sits in my pocket, on a table, or in the cup holder in my car. Nowhere that it should be getting scratched by, like, metal. Yeah. So it frustrates me a little bit.
Yeah, and as Kevin mentioned, Amazon would have one stare instant buy options.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
You're just scrolling through Amazon,
You're just scrolling through Amazon.
Buy.
Right, when they wouldn't be total scam. You pick a product,
and then
when you tap the product, then you look over at the price, and it goes purchased. Right, it's purchased. It does a little circle. Purchased with one glance, and then it's on the way. 2-hour delivery.
Yeah, so you can't even say no.
Yeah, you can't just be like no. Somebody already grabbed the package by the time you tried to deny it. So, did you want to say anything about the HomePod?
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say it's gonna be more than just the iPhone. We're likely gonna get some updates on iOS 11 for the iPad, especially. We're gonna get probably HomePod release details. Probably new MacBook details or new iMac details. Possibly Mac Pro stuff.
We'll see a lot of interesting things, I think. I'm excited for the iPhone because I want to be blown away, but I don't think I'm going to be blown away.
Yeah. This is also the first event being held in the Steve Jobs Theater.
That's right. That's cool. That's exciting. It's a 10th anniversary iPhone. I want to see something cool. But I'm not going to get my hopes up because I really don't expect anything cool.
Yeah.
I expect, hey, bezel-less iPhone. Oh, really? You finally caught the fuck up.
I mean, finally, it's the same year.
Okay, but their bezels were bigger even before.
Okay, but...
They
also had the best fingerprint scanner on a phone.
OnePlus's was better, wasn't it, when it first came out? I think the original OnePlus One was. I thought it was. Anyway.
Maybe better than the iPhone that then came out later that year. Or the iPhone that was already out, and then a new one came out. Yeah,
okay, maybe that might be it. That might be it. So
it's a trade-off. I mean,
we'll see what happens. I guess
But this to me is a much more interesting phone announcement.
Xiaomi.
Yes. So Android One has been. I'm gonna explain Android One for those that don't know about it really quick. It's a low-cost phone program for emerging markets. So think like. India, a lot of South America.
Yeah.
Those types of places where cheaper phones are what's popular, And in general,
Motorola is so successful over there.
But also in a lot of cases, they get shafted as far as software updates, as far as basic features.
That's part of why Motorola stuff's been selling good, is because they don't get shafted on that part. The Moto E is really popular over there, and the Moto G is like the premium device over there. You know,
So Android One was this program by Google designed to release stock Android phones.
Yep.
With very decent hardware for a very, very good price.
And that's important.
Yeah. So what we have here, now this is not launching in the United States. There's 37 countries, a few in America, a bit in Africa and Europe, and a lot in the Asian Pacific. But this phone is going to be releasing for the equivalent in US dollars of
$234. That's cheap once we get to the specs here in a second, guys.
Yeah. So
really
what this includes is a Snapdragon 625.
Yep.
A 5.5-inch 1080p display, 4 gigs of RAM.
That's massive for stock Android.
Yeah. Dual 12-megapixel cameras, one with a 2x optical zoom, like the OnePlus 5, the iPhone 7 Plus.
The Note 8.
Is that what it uses it for?
Yeah, that's what. There's a second camera.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got
I wasn't
the
sure
2
what
times
I really didn't care about the Note 8. 64 gigs of storage built in.
Which is awesome.
3,080 milliamp hour battery.
Which with the Snapdragon 625 is going to be like almost a 4K on an 835. Yeah. That'd be like a 1440, fucking 835 with a 4K milliamp hour.
And it charges over USB-C, and since this is an Android One phone, I have to imagine that it's using true USB-C spec.
Fast charging from it, yeah.
It runs stock Android and is part of the Android One program as far as that goes. It will receive Oreo by the end of the year, but what's more interesting is next year with Android P, it will be one of the first phones.
The thing is, these markets are huge for Google, and Google's they're catering to that, but we just don't see it in the U.S. as much until now.
Where we have seen it is Allo.
Yes,
Allo
correct.
Is
Allo
very
is
India focused.
Everywhere other than
primarily India.
India's the big one though.
That's why if you looked at, especially at launch, if you looked at the available sticker packs, like half of them were literally like India focused sticker packs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and Allo is really popular over there, like he's saying, and it might be popular over here in the future, but they haven't been focusing it here. Yeah, right. Well, I mean, they could still do account sign-in and then sync that way. It's possible.
But it would still require...
It would still require a phone. This is correct.
That's not
and that bothers you.
With the system.
Yes.
So
this is really exciting to me, too, though, realistically. And a Snapdragon 625 is not bad at all.
No.
I mean, like... that's right. Okay, so the BlackBerry Key 1 uses the Snapdragon 625. I thought it was something else, but no. Yeah, Snapdragon 625. I've used a Key 1 personally. In fact, I almost bought one. Very, very, very nice. I mean, it's totally snappy. The RAM matters, but I mean, for a near stock Android experience, which is what's on the BlackBerry Key 1, I mean, honestly, the 625 is all you need unless you're gaming and you know, potentially watching higher than 1080p video, which you're not on this, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a great chip for power consumption, too. That's part of why the what is it, 3,500 milliamp hour battery on the Key 1 lasts so long. You know, it's a 2-day battery, so...
Yeah, all around, this is a fantastic phone. I wouldn't recommend importing this because it doesn't look like it has much in the way of US band support.
Okay.
GSM bands, it's only 2, 3, 5, and 8.
Yeah.
So...
It's exciting. I mean, I'm excited, honestly.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Now, what this could mean is maybe Xiaomi might bring it here.
I mean, Xiaomi...
Oh, sorry. Some company might bring a similar phone to the U.S. market for a similar price.
I mean,
probably
I feel
Motorola.
Like we'll just get a Motorola G update next year.
Yeah, well, it'll probably be a Moto G for $250.
Yeah.
That is really high spec. Though, I mean,
realistically,
though, $250. You compare that to phones that are in the $600 range that are having the same specs like the Key 1.
Yeah.
I mean, the Key 1 has a physical keyboard, but still. And it's beautiful, too. Here, send me the link, or is it in the source?
Just go to me.com/en/
If I can type me.com/en/
MI.
MI.
No, MI is not me like me.
/MI-A1?
Yes.
Alright, I'll put this up for you guys in a moment if I get to the right site. Let's see if I do. Was it slow for you?
No.
It hates me.
Yeah.
Why does it hate me, guys?
Because you're Ethan.
Because I'm Ethan. That's probably why, yeah.
I'll send you this link. Maybe it'll open faster if you type it correctly.
Yeah. Maybe you are mean. Okay.
Hey, you the one that said you can't type.
Hey, I love not being able to type. Yeah, that loaded. Okay, here, I'll show you guys. So it is actually quite beautiful here. Go to screen cap. Look at that. Look at that right there. That is a very, very, very pretty phone, in my opinion, compared to... I mean, the bezels are thin. Like, it's got a big, a big chin and a big forehead. But honestly, I mean, it's pretty looking. Yeah, it looks a little bit like the iPhone, but it's still not bad. Full metal body for that price. Dual camera for that price. I mean, this is really, really, really cool. I think it's exciting, actually. Sorry for the streamception there, guys. I haven't set up keyboard shortcuts for that yet. But anyway, yeah, so I mean, I think it's really cool.
It also uses a 10V smart powered, some kind of somewhat decent amplifier, supports high impedance headphones up to 600 ohms.
I will say I doubt that it really does, but...
I mean, it has an independent audio amplifier, so...
Yes, but also amplifiers for pushing really high ohm rating headphones tend to be fairly large. So I'm an audiophile. I'm guessing it can, but they're probably going to be fairly quiet. 300 ohms is probably.
I mean, I feel like they wouldn't be advertising it.
Well, because it's capable, but a reliable volume.
So it doesn't say capable; it says supports it. I mean,
yeah, because that's the thing is like when it comes to, and it might be lower audio quality when it does that to try and push out more power. Because I know some can do ohm detection and adjust the amp according to that. That's also going to lower your battery life.
I mean, we also don't know what Xiaomi's working on because again, Xiaomi doesn't really release phones in the U.S.
Yeah, right.
They
so
are
who knows?
very like China focused, especially. So they may have
something
audio hardware for their phones. They may have focused on this in the past, and so. They've used that R&D budget.
Maybe so, yeah. What I will say is I've had motherboards before that advertise like say up to like 300 ohms. Mm-hmm. You plug in like a 300 ohm pair of headphones. You got to turn it to max volume, and it's still probably not realistically loud enough. Yeah. I mean, I had 250 ohm headphones plugged into a 300 ohm rated amp on a motherboard back when I had my 4790K and my Sabertooth Mark S motherboard. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was rated to 300 ohms, 250 ohm barodynamics, and I had to push volume to about 75-80% in order to get them to be decently noisy. So, just pointing that out, just so nobody expects that. Well, now that we're talking about audio, Kevin says, Future Talk, surround sound headphones that sound good. Okay, and have bass with directional audio correctly. So what I will say about that is that's going to be all binaural based. So there's two ways that your ears detect where sounds are. There is the difference in volume, which is called aural level difference or something like that. Basically, it's the difference in volume that each ear hears because something over there is going to be louder in your left ear versus your right ear, assuming your hearing is equivalent, versus also interaural time delay. And what that is actually each sound takes a slightly different amount of time to get to each ear. I snap over here. There is a few microseconds, that's smaller than milliseconds, microseconds, usually in the range of about like 100 to 300 microseconds, so 0.2-ish, milliseconds, that this ear would actually hear it slightly delayed versus this ear here. And so to create true surround sound, you actually only need two realistic audio output sources to your ears, one for each. And that's what binaural audio is supposed to be. It's just really hard to actually set up things to sound properly that way. What's up?
This is like his favorite topic on the world.
Talking about audio?
No, this binaural audio specifically.
I love audio like crazy, okay?
Yes,
I just bought a bunch of shit literally for a reason.
You just get like a hard on for binaural though.
Yeah, okay. That's okay. I mean, I'm a PC enthusiast and an audiophile, okay?
Let everyone know how much you
love
it.
How much, yes. Okay, so anyway, so those are the two things. So yeah, it's interaural time delay and interaural level difference, I think is the proper term for that one. Anyway, basically using two drivers, you can create true actual surround sound, but it's really hard to map that differently because when you do like a surround sound speaker setup, the way you do that is you pick where you want it to come from, you sit in the center of the room, putting it in layman's terms, and that just tells you which direction it's coming from. That tells your ears, that does everything for you, right? There is a physical time delay difference between the ears because of where the device actually is placed. So one of the ways that people get around that is they actually take a binaural audio recording microphone that's usually actually like the actual head with ear canals, with the microphones inside the ear canals. And what they'll do is they'll map it in like 5.1 audio. In fact, there was a John Keane did this. You can check out his website, jmksonics.com. I bought his Blu-ray album there. But basically, you actually map it in 5.1 or 7.1 or whatever surround sound that you would normally map it in. You could even do it with Atmos. And then you place the speakers and everything, and you actually play back the music to the binaural recording microphone in the ideal sitting placement, so that way it can do it for you. It does all the mapping for you, basically, so that you're going to have that actual physical microsecond delay as well as the level difference per ear, and so you're going to get true surround sound. And let me tell you, it works. It does actually work. He has a JMK Sonics, when they released that album, actually has songs that are mapped to 5.1 audio and then recorded with a binaural head. It works perfectly. You can tell where everything is, and in fact, I can tell that he only had one subwoofer in his surround sound setup, not two, because the bass is slightly louder in the front left than it is on the right.
Wow.
So, just saying.
One last thing about the phone.
So it's possible.
Yeah. One last thing about the phone.
Yeah.
It supports either dual SIM or single SIM and micro SD.
That's really good. Yeah. Dual SIM's really useful for a lot of other places, not here. Yeah. But it's really useful for a lot of places. So anyway, yeah. And Kevin's asking, what headphones support it? Well, technically, any headphones could support that. But
that have two speakers.
They have two. They have one for each ear.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's the audio source that has to be mapped that way, because it's actually technically mapped in just stereo, left and right channels. And the audio itself has to be recorded in a way that your ears can perceive it that way.
Yeah.
And so, like, you can listen to binaural recordings with any pair of headphones, some sounding better than others, especially open back headphones. But realistically, it's only if it's a properly built, properly recorded binaural recording. And that's why it's so hard to do it. And so when you have, like, surround sound headphones, like gaming ones and stuff like that, they'll either sometimes use separate drivers, or they try and have surround sound processing that's basically designed to do that difference for you, do that difference calculation for you, but it doesn't work as good as actually having the difference.
The Verge actually did a video on binaural audio back in like 2015.
Okay.
It was pretty cool. It's called Hear New York City in 3D Audio.
Mm-hmm.
Go check that out if you want to see more about it.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen that, surprisingly.
They actually use recording devices that are literally the shape of ears.
Yeah. That's one of the ways. Yeah. In fact, one of the ways to do it on a budget, people that are trying to do binaural recordings on a budget, is they have microphones that go in your ears.
Yeah.
So,
in fact, they even tell you right at the beginning to put on headphones in the video.
Yes, because it won't work without headphones. Yeah, because you can't do. So technically, 2 drivers is enough to do proper binaural audio, but you can't do it with speakers very easily, because each ear can hear each speaker. There's no isolation. There have been ways that they've tried to get around that by using noise cancellation between 2 separate speakers, having noise cancellation in the middle to basically cancel out the one per ear in like a microsecond fashion. It's really complicated, but basically by using opposing frequencies to make it sound like there's no frequency there, but that's incredibly hard to do.
Yeah.
In fact, the only speakers I know of that don't actually do that, but that kind of do this sort of binaural design is, I can't remember who they're by, but the speakers are, I think it's $18,000 for the pair of 2 speakers. They actually go from ground to like 7 feet in the air.
Wow.
And they have the speakers, they have a couple speakers that are they're about the same separation as your ears on a human head, that have a 300 microsecond delay between them to help with that. Anyway, the point is, it's really, really, really hard to do. But no, to answer your question, Kevin, headphones with multiple drivers, kind of a scam. Technically, it can be easier for them to map the surround sound that way if they have drivers that are up higher and down lower and stuff like that. But realistically, that's not what's needed for proper headphone surround sound. So I wouldn't call it a scam exactly. It's more of like an experiment that doesn't have the outcome that they really want it to.
Yeah.
So, but moving on, because I'll go on forever about that.
Yes.
Lenovo.
Oh, Lenovo. So, between August...
I love Lenovo, too. It makes me sad when this happened so long ago.
Yeah.
I've always liked their devices.
So,
but anyway.
between August 2014 and June 2015, there were 750,000 laptops sold by Lenovo. that came pre-installed with a program called Visual Discovery.
Which, for those who don't know, this whole thing is dubbed Superfish.
Yes.
So people that maybe have already heard of it, they were talking about Superfish, the Lenovo Superfish scam.
It is literally a man-in-the-middle software for stealing information from people that are putting it in on their computers and utilizing their computers.
I don't think Lenovo purposefully did it on their laptops, though. As it says in the article here, like, Lenovo wasn't paying attention. I don't think they realized that it was phishing software.
Yeah. But that's negligence. That's still not them being okay on my part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they should have paid more attention to anything they're pre-installing.
Yeah.
They should be looking through that code with a fucking fine-tooth comb to make sure that it's okay to pre-install software.
Yeah.
Another problem with bloatware.
Yeah,
so...
Yeah, I mean, if they just released it stock Windows fresh install.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even set up yet, it would be a non-issue.
But nobody will do that.
Yeah.
All you should have it as drivers, but... Yeah, so it's man-in-the-middle software to fish data. $3.5 million paid out to 32 states.
Yes.
32 states as in the United States?
Yeah, there's 32
Not like states of... Okay.
Correct. So what it was in the lawsuit over this, or the essentially fine, or the FTC lawsuit, I guess. 32 states had joined in.
Okay.
And so of that 3.5 million, it's being split up to those 32 states. I think one of the biggest payouts is going to like Connecticut or something, which is like they're getting over $200-something thousand.
Jeez.
Rightfully so. I don't know what the states are planning on doing with the money though. Are they giving it to the people that bought these laptops?
I would hope.
Or the other thing in which I would be okay with them doing is putting the money towards enforcement and inspection of stuff like this.
Okay.
Setting up some kind of agency just to like, buy a laptop from a random brand every once in a while and check what's on it. Buy not just laptops, but like phones.
But yeah, just
everything.
buy one of everything that comes out.
Some kind of watchdog group that just checks stuff. Not even necessarily one of everything.
You mean the watchdogs from S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yes. No, the watchdogs from the game.
The watchdogs from the game, right.
Just using the money, Lenovo paid out, and anyone else that gets caught doing stupid stuff like this, take the money from that and use it to continue to check this stuff.
I think it's a good idea. I would be okay with that if they did
doing
that.
It like
but they'll probably keep it to build a turtle tunnel.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm okay with the turtle tunnel.
But they don't use it.
Huh?
But they don't use it. Okay, so, yeah, Lenovo, that makes me sad. I might still consider... I'm replacing my XPS 13 sometime next year with a quad core. I don't know yet if I'm going to buy Lenovo or not.
Do not.
They paid their fine, bro.
So?
And it's not exactly like... They're responsible, but not 100% responsible. It's not all the blame's not to be
They actively put software on their computer that, whether they knew it or not, was literally stealing user information.
Yeah.
The fact that they didn't know it doesn't mean they didn't make the active choice to put it on there.
I agree with that statement, and it's not going to necessarily turn me away from buying a good machine. But I don't know. It depends on,
there should be repercussions for companies doing stupid stuff like this. Keeping on buying their products is exactly why they don't care. Because
yes, but that's why we have fines that are put in place for this kind of stuff.
Let's be real.
Not like 3.5 is a lot for Lenovo,
let me say something.
But
when does any company, in 99% of cases, get fined any amount that is significant enough to deter them from caring?
Yeah.
3.5
I don't necessarily disagree with that.
3.5 million to Lenovo is like, okay, we'll do it again and probably make more. They probably made more money from doing this than they lost.
Well, the thing is, I don't think they made money off of Superfish.
Then why would they put it on there?
The idea was a beneficial program that they claim they didn't know was phishing for data. Okay. But I don't think that they were the ones that had the data itself, did they? I don't think they were the ones that actually had the phishing data. It was a third party.
What my point is, so whether it's that whatever the intent of the software was, it's not like whatever the software is likely made by only one company.
Right.
So if they went with one company because it's cheaper and they needed this capability anyway, well, if they saved more than 3.5 million by choosing this one over another brand, then they still came out at a net positive.
I can understand that. Yeah,
either way, it shows negligence by a major PC company. Yeah. And I think that it should take more than a couple years to be willing to trust them again. They need to prove themselves.
Maybe so. Yeah.
And just paying a fine that they're ordered to pay is
not necessarily significant to them as a company. Okay. I can agree with that. Like I said, I'll honestly probably end up getting another XPS 13 quad core.
Make a lot more
Not
sense.
sure what I'm gonna do with this one.
Hi, I'll buy it.
You already have a laptop. I might
This
find
is
another
shitty.
use for it. It literally has the same processor that I have in here.
That doesn't make it good.
I mean, technically mine's actually older, but
So.
and you have a touchscreen. But
So.
true, this is better. So T-Mobile, they solved another pain point.
That was my
it's such a hardship.
Yeah.
You know.
So the uncarrier movement was all about solving consumer pain points in wireless.
Yes.
Looking at things like bullshit contracts, looking at things like data caps that were unfair.
Yes.
All kinds of different actual consumer pain points.
And before you continue with that, like I think the reason that this we're about to talk about stems from is the fact that they did all that and other companies slowly followed. So they're like, well, now we got to separate ourselves again.
They have plenty of pain points they could fix, though.
That's true. There's
They
still a lot more pain points.
They could have done this and solved the pain point at the same time.
They could have.
Instead, the pain point I'm going to talk about, they didn't solve. So essentially what T-Mobile announced was that if you are... I'll mention the plans a little bit. Certain customers on T-Mobile are getting Netflix for free.
Family plans on their T-Mobile One, right? Okay.
So yes, now that Ethan's already said it, family plans on T-Mobile One.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I had a specific flow for it. That's
I see.
But yeah, so essentially those specific plans are getting Netflix for free. If you are on any other price plan, and this is especially disheartening for Simple Choice users, especially single-line Simple Choice users.
That makes sense,
Simple Choice was the plan that brought T-Mobile back from
the
downward spiral it was on. So the people that opted to switch to T-Mobile...
Careful about banging the table so much.
Okay.
Sorry.
The people that opted to switch to T-Mobile when it was most needed for them as a company.
Uh-huh.
The people that put their faith in them when they had not yet proven themselves on a network side, on anything else.
Yeah, right.
Are the ones getting shafted by this by not getting promos anymore.
It's a good point.
And this is not specific to this plan. This is not specific to this promo. This is not specific to T-Mobile. This is a major customer pain point in wireless. Customers that are not on the newest plan or the newest functionality get screwed.
Right.
And it's not even always cheaper. Like sometimes it's like a $10 difference and you lose out on $50 worth of benefits, so you have to switch up and pay $10 more.
Right.
Now in my case, I'm on a 2 for $100 plan. So ultimately, I'm paying way less than the T-Mobile One subscriber. So, ultimately, if I have to pay for Netflix, I'm still getting a better deal.
But
however, as someone that has literally been on T-Mobile the entire time that I've had postpaid service, whether it was under my dad or when I got my own cell line.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You claim to be better than everyone else in wireless, yet you're doing the same things Verizon and AT&T would do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Offering some people Netflix, which is like a $10 benefit. Most people would rather take the $10. I know it's not costing T-Mobile $10 an account,
but still.
But a lot of people would rather
I
take
preferred, like, when you get a certain phone, like when Samsung was giving it away with the phone for a year. Like, that was cool. I don't necessarily need it with a subscription through T-Mobile.
Yeah, and this also, and even more so than the specific plans... Because you could be on the T-Mobile One plan and not get this if you're a single-line account. The people that pay the most per line don't get the benefit.
Yeah, which is unfortunate and doesn't make sense.
It does make sense to T-Mobile.
Okay, yes, but it doesn't make sense to the consumer.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because for those that don't know much about the wireless industry, especially for investors, and keep in mind the CEO's job is to benefit the consumer or the customers and the investors.
Yeah.
If they don't benefit the investors, they get ousted.
Right.
So ultimately, multi-user accounts are what is most valuable to investors. You're least likely to change providers if you have to switch over multiple lines.
Yes.
You're more likely to or I should say you're less likely to utilize like multiple stores, multiple locations, call into customer service as often on a per line basis.
Right,
if you're going to call in over the bill, it's for one line if there's billing issues. So there's a lot of benefit to being on multi-user accounts.
Yeah.
Stockholders really
understandable,
like multi-user accounts.
But still.
But
that
you
being
shouldn't
said,
shaft the single line users. They're
exactly.
already paying more per line. The least you could do is give them the same benefit as far as extra services as single line users.
Yes, exactly.
If they would have at least allowed it to be all T-Mobile One subs, I really wouldn't have cared.
Right, and is it for only new subscribers?
No.
So this is for existing, but you have to be on T-Mobile One Family.
T-Mobile One Family plan.
Okay, but it has to be T-Mobile One Family.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, because I was addressing Kevin here because he was saying you're a loyal paying customer and you get nothing. Only new subscribers get the benefit. So it's not only for new subscribers.
It's just only for new plans.
Only new plans, right? So you have to switch to the T-Mobile One Family plan.
Yes.
Like I'm on T-Mobile One Singular. And the family plan is where you get the benefits. So,
yeah, I mean, this is ultimately just something that literally every carrier does. T-Mobile, if there would have been rumors like T-Mobile was including Netflix,
yeah,
I would have thought, hey, maybe they're actually solving a pain point by allowing everyone to do it.
Right.
Nope.
No. And that's kind of frustrating.
So,
that is kind of frustrating. I agree with you on that.
Yeah,
standpoint.
this is. I feel like the two biggest things that T-Mobile needs to work on right now. Are how they handle promos for older accounts and, more importantly, single line users.
Yeah.
And then also the way that they handle billing, because there are a lot of complaints of billing issues. I mean, this is normal for all carriers realistically. But it's something that if T-Mobile is going to be on the forefront of quote unquote fixing customer pain points, they need to fix before everyone else. Not just ignore it because ultimately it's probably profitable for them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So,
I can agree with that. Yeah, definitely.
It's just kind of a little bit of hypocrisy from T-Mobile.
Yeah.
In the fact that they're just like, yo, let's fix customer pain points.
Right, and then it's like, screw you. Yeah.
So
a couple things to talk about that aren't tech news here, but I actually want to get to a few comments first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, did you have something you wanted to address first? Was it related?
To Kevin's most recent.
Go ahead and respond because that's actually
Verizon
related.
upped your mobile hotspot to 15. Now, are you on unlimited data? Because if so, bye full streaming video in HD.
Yeah, we talked about that in the last podcast. It'll be 480p for
480p
phones.
480p on the base plan. Well, 480p
on the base plan for
phones and 720p for tablets.
Yeah.
And then on
hotspot, I think is 720p, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then on the upgraded plan, it's 720p for tablets and phones.
For everything, which is unfortunate. So
there is no option to stream 1080p, let alone 1440p. So
I know. I stream 1440 on T-Mobile all the time.
If you bought the Pixel, which was a Verizon exclusive, you cannot on cellular data stream at that resolution.
Yeah, right. It's unfortunate.
Whether you were already on a plan or not.
Yeah.
Sucks to be you.
It's pretty lame. So a couple of other things to address.
No, not only over hotspot. This is affecting streaming video throughout their entirety of their network.
Yes.
On cell phones, on tablets, on hotspot.
Yep.
There is no more full resolution streaming. Yeah, I'll post a link to an article in it for you to read more on.
Cool. So to address some of the earlier comments, so Kevin was saying, a side note for me, if I haven't heard of Danley, check them out. Yeah, they look really nice, actually, so thank you for showing that to me. That's quite interesting to me. I hadn't heard of them. I followed SV Sound, like you mentioned there for a moment. I followed them for a long time, but it's interesting is I haven't seen Danley before. SV Sound, they're awesome. I really like their stuff. I haven't owned any of them, but family members of mine have owned some of their top-of-the-line stuff, and my God, it's beautiful. Speaking of which, next summer I actually have a plan to completely change up my home theater setup, which is in another portion of this room over here, to SVS Dolby Atmos surround sound with an Xbox One S because it supports that, and an HDR 70-inch 4K TV. That's at least the plan. And so, but interesting to look at some other brands and stuff like that. Yeah, and the SV subs, that's what they're known for mostly. Like, their speakers are amazing and stuff too, but SV Sound subs are absolutely incredible. I won't be going with their highest end stuff. I'll put that out there. I don't have the money for that. I'm a huge audio and home theater, nerd or file or whatever you want to call it, but not going to be going with the highest end stuff, but it's still going to be a many $1,000 project. But right now I'm focused on the Threadripper build, upgrades to that, and some of my monitors and stuff like that for doing editing and camera gear, and a new laptop. He was also saying for my laptop, wait for Ryzen. I'm going to wait for Ryzen and like Ultrabooks and mobile and stuff like that, definitely, because it's going to be a while realistically, because like I said, Threadripper, I have a 32 terabyte NAS planned, along with setup upgrades, because I need to get a 4K panel and a 1440p ultra-wide panel for all my editing and stuff, and some higher-end audio stuff. So realistically, after all that, so after my setup, and after I do the 32 terabyte storage server for all this freaking 4K footage, Then I'm going to be doing a new laptop. Then comes the home theater project.
Yeah.
So it's a little ways away, but
yeah.
I'm excited for it. So Ryzen will be out by then on mobile. Yeah.
One thing I want to go back to for discussing the Verizon plans really quick. So you can do 1080p video streaming on tablets.
Yeah.
On the Beyond Unlimited plan. But also, since he had mentioned that he got bumped up to 15 gigs of hotspot for free, I'm wondering if that puts him on the Beyond Unlimited, because Beyond Unlimited plan includes 15 gigs of LTE speeds for hotspot. And that would mean he can stream 720p video.
Right. But
no higher on the phone.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. He's also, Kevin saying, Danley is used for big stadiums. They use something called trapped horn. Yeah, Klipsch also uses trapped horn. I'm assuming you've heard of them. If not, KLIPSCH. As well as I think Bauer and Wilkins does some home theater stuff that uses trapped horns. I think Klipsch stuff is mostly like full theater stuff, but Bauer and Wilkins, I believe their highest end home theater stuff uses trapped horns. Then he's saying I need a good 4K 32-inch monitor. I'm planning to get a 4K 27, actually, is my goal, because it's going to match up really good with the 34-inch 1440 ultra-wide that I plan to put next to it. So, yeah. And then he's saying, what do we do for jobs? Well, I live in a basement, so...
Literally your mom's basement.
I'm the mom's basement nerd, so I have money for tech now. When I move out eventually, I won't be able to buy as much stuff, so I'm trying to do as much as I can now. We'll see how the channel grows. Hopefully the channel grows rapidly over the next 4 or 5 years when I move out. You know, have plenty of money is the goal. We'll see. But that's the goal that him and I are working on.
Meanwhile, I do maintenance at an apartment building. I don't make great money, but enough to do some of what I want. So, I'll take it for now.
And I mean, I do deliveries for semi-truck trailer parts. Yeah. So, like, neither of us are making, like, loads of money. But also there's this thing called credit cards, which forces me to pay it off.
Oh, my God.
I'm kidding. Stay home as long as you can is what he says. Yes, that's the goal, right? That's the goal.
Yeah. And then going back to his comment about, again, going back to the Verizon thing. So Verizon has actually lowered the cap before they start getting slowed down. It is now 22 gigabytes per billing cycle.
Instead of 24, yeah.
And on top of that, what it used to be is that it was 22... sorry.
Good,
okay.
You're good.
Yeah, so no, it's 22 gigs per billing cycle, and then you can experience reduced speeds at the time of network congestion. That's... and no matter what, though, whether you're at 22... or you're
it doesn't matter. The video is still
lowered
capped. Yes, which is unfortunate. So, but yeah. So I guess I have a few word tech things to talk about. A few closing thoughts there. Shoot, I lost my train of thought because I'm an idiot. Oh, yes. So, guys, some of you that follow the channel closely, I don't know if you do, Kevin, I'm not sure, but some of you that follow closely that are probably watching here, I've been talking about ramping up video production recently, and I put out a video, it was... Last week, Monday, or, sorry, no, it was 2 weeks ago. So. Well, a week and a half ago, yeah. So not a couple days, not last Monday, but the Monday before that. In 2 weeks, you would start seeing 5 videos a week on my channel. That is still well underway. I shouldn't have to delay it by another week. I should be hitting that target is the goal. Worst case scenario, there'll be another week delay, but I doubt it. Mirko's back on track with being able to do more videos. So in theory, again, no 100% promises, but I believe it'll be happening Monday. This coming Monday after this current podcast at the time of streaming this live, you'll start seeing 5 videos a week. Every Monday, you'll see either a project video, review video, maybe a video about a topic, explaining something about a topic, or my thoughts about something like Threadripper or whatever, for example, or potentially one of my durability overviews that I do on my products after 6 months of owning them. Then after that, Tuesdays will be an episode of my series called Blips, which is rather than there's a lot of other channels and stuff on YouTube that try and basically take really broad kind of complicated topics and shrink them down and compact them so that they're very quick to give you the information about it to understand it.
You should do one on binaural audio.
I will do one on binaural audio. So whereas Blips, my series, is actually going to be more like taking something small and specific and giving you every single detail about that in about 10 minutes. So you've got about 10 minutes there. You can either do, in my eyes, one of two things. You can explain a broad category quickly, or you can explain a very simple category that most people would understand, just like as an example, like microcode. Or I did one on what was it? It was the platform controller hub from Intel. Like these specific things where people go, oh, well, it's the CPU on the motherboard that controls stuff. Here's all the details about it in 10 minutes. So that's what the series Blips is about. You'll start seeing that every Tuesday. I got to work on some scripting for that soon. Wednesdays is WordCast, as you're watching right now. Every week, WordCast, 9 p.m. Pacific time. Make sure to join. I'll be setting up a subscribe page on our website so you can get email reminders about 2 hours before we start. Thursday will be a tech news roundup for the week. Basically 5-10 minute video of just the biggest tech news stories, generally PC related. Basically, the stuff that we do in WordCast just summarized, and some of them taken out and stuff like that. A little more PC focused.
Do that on Friday.
On Friday, you think?
I feel like a lot of stuff happens end of the day, Thursday and early
Friday. It does, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, Friday's Mirko's upload day.
Okay.
So, because Friday, generally, I will cover it if he can't. Mirko, the other guy that does work on my channel other than him, will be uploading a video, generally a review or a project video. He does a lot of like budget builds, like Craigslist builds and stuff like that are really cool. So, yeah, so I just wanted to point out that should be well underway. You should also start seeing articles popping up on the website. I'm hoping this weekend we can both start writing some. That'll help with the tech news stuff.
Destiny and Comic-Con.
That's true. Destiny is a thing, and we're going to Comic-Con, which we'll probably film a vlog for that, because we do have a vlogging channel for those of you who don't know. It's WordTech Vlogging, so you can search that and you'll find it. I know, it's amazing. So we'll probably be posting a vlog of our Comic-Con stuff there. But anyway, the point is, all this stuff is well underway. I have rebuilt the website recently, adding a few more things to it, like a mailing list, basically. So there's already a mailing list set up. Every time we post, you can get an email, but a mailing list specifically about the WordCast podcast, and potentially another one for when we are doing game streaming and stuff like that. I'm also going to be embedding all the streams on the site, so a little bit more work to do there. And we also have forums, which you guys should totally go to the link in the description to our forums and sign up for our forums on our site there. The site is a smidge slow, and I apologize. There's not a lot I can do about that. Once it's cached, it should be faster from there on out, but the first load time is a little bit slower than I'd like it to be. I can't figure out specifically which plugin I'm using is causing that. I use WordPress because some of the people that are going to be writing articles, in fact the majority of them, don't know HTML, and some of the stuff we want to do isn't very HTML friendly. So it is unfortunately WordPress, which is slower than I'd like, but it's what we got for now. Anyway, totally sign up for the forums and start posting stuff there. I monitor that closely, and I'm going to start posting stuff there soon. So yes, so we got another 10 minutes for a really epic debate here at the end, though. Felipe has asked a question. We love Felipe for joining in because he asks the hard questions that start fights. Yeah, we understand, Alex. Get in the...
My man.
Go. No.
Go. Where's he gonna go? You push him.
I'm gonna push him. He's already in the corner. You're right.
Nobody puts Alex in the corner.
You're already in the corner. You put yourself in the corner.
You come into this corner.
Oh. So anyway, Felipe asked a question. These are always the important questions that he asks. One was Cheetos or Doritos was one of them a while ago. Cookies or brownies? You need to come up with ones that aren't food, though, Felipe. Like, these still work, but you need to come up with aren't food next week, right?
Why?
No, because they're all food, you know? So? I mean, or you can stick with food. I don't really care. Cookies or brownies? So, in my eyes, cookies. What do you think? We can argue our points, but what do you think? I say cookies.
I'm going to say cookies.
You're going to say cookies, but how do you feel?
It's very complicated.
It is pretty complicated, realistically, because brownies tend to be more flavorful, right? Kevin, I have to interject to you, Kevin. Doritos do not win because of one thing. He meant Flaming Hot Cheetos in specific. I should have identified that there. Those beat Doritos. Doritos beat regular Cheetos, though.
If you're playing video games, you have to eat Doritos.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point. That's actually a solid point. Yeah. Although Cheetos kind of work if they're Flaming Hot ones.
No. Diva doesn't.
It's not the stereotype, though. It's not the stereotype.
Diva does not eat Cheetos.
Yes.
Diva eats Doritos.
Yes. Also, he says...
Also, you're playing Super Meat Boy.
No sponsor here, but Kevin says Ghirardelli chocolate browners. I think he meant brownies. Sorry, I had to say it. Are tough to beat, though. That was funny. But yeah, I agree. Ghirardelli, actually, they make those brownies are amazing. Those are the only ones we buy. But also, I have to say cookies because they're more convenient to eat, more convenient to cook, more convenient to store, and can have more flavors. You don't cook your cookies, you just eat the dough? I mean, I do too, but...
I mean, literally right next to my work, like, the same building, there is a cookie dough store opening up that's not for cooking. It's literally for eating raw.
That's wonderful. I wonder if they take the egg out of it so there's no salmonella. Because that's the worry that people have about
I want
it.
extra salmonella.
Right, yeah. Please, give me extra...
I gotta build up my immunity.
Sprinkle some salmonella.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would say cookies for that reason. Even though brownies in some cases taste better, you can get a wider variety of flavors out of cookies. You can get M&M cookies, not a sponsor. You can get, you can get oatmeal raisin cookies, oatmeal cookies, butterscotch, whatever it is. So that's my opinion there. They're easier to eat. That wasn't quite as epic of a debate as it was between the Doritos and Cheetos until we found out they're Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Yeah.
So, but cookies win. Cookies do win, indeed. So, thank you everybody though that has watched our podcast. We really appreciate everything.
One last update.
What's up?
Bungie is still investigating the ongoing issue for PlayStation 4 players. Sad face.
Yay! Just kidding. But yeah, so thank you everybody for watching. Don't forget to, like and subscribe. Check out our other channels, which I don't think I have linked on our main channel. Wow, I'm an idiot. But I have our gaming channel linked down below, and then WordTech Vlogging is the vlog channel that has nothing on it so far, but will in the future.
How do you not have your other channels?
I meant to link them there. I just never put them there. Yeah. But thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for the wonderful interaction that we got here in our comment section. We really appreciate it. Kevin and what was it? Alien Technology, and there was one other person. I don't remember who. I'm sorry. Not Felipe. He's always in the conversation. But thank you everybody for asking all the questions that you asked. We appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next week at 9 p.m. So pretty exciting there. Should be some big news, and I can't wait to have Threadripper. Hopefully. End of October. All right. But thank you everybody again for watching, and we'll see you